or good evening. Another episode of Piping Talks. It's a piper today. We have Ross Miller from Scotland. We'll hear about how he started playing the pipes. Funny enough, another Bogle sort of player that we overlapped, I think, for a year or two, and then went on to play for Inveraray and guest for other bands as well. So looking forward to hearing more about his piping journey. He's also a super talented solo artist and released an album a few months ago, I think, or a few years ago. So I'm excited to dive more into that. But Ross, how are you doing? Good evening.
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So we were just chatting, but super busy week for you. I know even when I was doing the World Solos Drumming Championship, you were always like playing for multiple juvenile or novice juvenile at Bogle, and you're obviously we're recording this right before the World Solos Drumming Championship, which is happening on Saturday. Are you playing for anyone? You said one person. Is that it, or do you have more people you play with?
I'm playing for 5 people. As you say,
Damn.
I always seem to be in demand. I don't know if it's because I'm like a piping jukebox a wee bit with the pipe band tunes. You know, the rant is. I guess it's as soon as you know the Cameronian rant, that's you. That's you done for in the solo
For a
drumming.
drummer.
But, yeah, sure. So no, I'm playing for Gavin Orr, who plays in Inveraray, who played with us in Boghall. I'm playing for Kerr McQuillan, who's the leading drummer now of Boghall. I'm playing for a guy called Michael Shoppy from Dunedin in Florida. And right. I'm playing for 2 drummers who are from the Isle of Arran, which was my school job until a few weeks ago. But it's been the October holidays since I left. So I said I would still play for them because there's been nobody else to play for them. So I'm playing for them because I'll be there anyway. So a busy day I think I'll have. Yeah. Do you know what I do actually? I think it's quite good. Lots of pipers are either scared of it or like, oh, for goodness sake, it's the solo drumming. But I find it actually quite. I find it quite fun. It's a good reason to play. We've had a few solo piping competitions over the last few weeks, so I've been playing in that kind of ilk anyway. So it's not like I'm going from having not played my pipes since the Worlds to having to play for 5 drummers. I've been playing anyway, and because it's my job to play pipes, I hope that I would be playing pipes anyway.
Do you do you have to like memorize quite a few sets then? I mean, I guess you always like know sort of the classic, but do you feel it challenging? Like, do you always have to learn one tune or two based on the drummer?
Yeah, it depends. Like this year, I knew all the tunes, I think. So it's just remembering what order of set it is for each drummer, and especially in the adults when they pick it out of the hat. But some of the reel goes or the shuspe goes into a different reel, and someone's and a different. But it's actually been fairly good this year for everybody playing different tunes, which is good. So there's not too much crossover. I think I can't remember. I worked out the other day, but I think at one point last week I was preparing 9 MSRs because I was playing solo piping as well. And of that, there was only like 3 tunes that were the same across the thing. But it's fine. It's not too much of an issue. I'll say that, and it'll be a disaster on Saturday. But
well, but I hope each player you play for will get you a drink at the end of the day and per tune. So you can
that's it.
Do it. Well, I guess you're. If Gavin O'Carr is in under 18, so he only has one MSR to play. But if once they get into the adult and he goes all the way through the final, and you have Gavin making it through the final, that could be a long day.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But it'll be fine. I'll survive.
Nice. All right, cool. Well, tell us about how you obviously we played together in the same band, but I'm super curious. Like, how did you get into piping in the first place? Are you from the sort of Bathgate area?
Yeah, sure. So I loved piping from when I was a young age. My parents always said that I wanted to be in a pipe band, and I actually used to make bagpipes out of like a 2-liter bottle for the bag with a tartan scarf wrapped around it, and then I'd have a kitchen roll tube as the bass drone, and then the 2 toilet roll tubes as the tenor drones. I would make that, and then I'd have a recorder, and that would be my bagpipes, and I would stand at the side of the street and play that. And over years, like this was probably when I was like 3 or 4. Over the years, I graduated onto like the toy pipes you get on the Royal Mile and like a bigger set of them. And then I wasn't allowed to start lessons until I was 7. And by that point, we lived for a couple of years in Inverness. My dad had a job up there, so we stayed up there. So I used to get lessons in the Cabernet bagpipe shop in the Victoria Market in the middle of Inverness. And yeah, I got lessons from a guy called Finlay McGee there, and then he moved on to be pipe major of the RAF. And I got lessons from Andrew McLennan there, who still works there now to this day. And I still actually am in contact with him. I see him; he's always at the northern meetings and the competition, like the championships that are up in Inverness. Or I played in Hootenannies a couple of times, and he was there, being like, "I did that." So it's great to see him. And then we moved down when I was about 9 to back to Linlithgow. We'd lived in Linlithgow before, and then we moved up to Inverness and moved back to Linlithgow. And we were looking for a new teacher, a new band for me to go to, and Andrew put me on to the Bagad Band. And then so I played my first season there when I was 10 in the novice band, and then I got solo lessons from Alvis Kerr when I was kind of
Nice.
between like, I don't know, 12 or 11 and between like 11 and 15 or something. And then when I was going through that, I went to the Piping Centre and got lessons from Greg Canning in the Piping Centre for a few years until I moved on to the RCS course. And then I played in Bockhall until 2015. I left the same year as Ross Walker left, and I then moved and joined Inveraray. And since then I've been just doing the things.
Doing the things, yeah, I know. And so you touched on like you going to, I keep saying the RSMD, but you went to the conservatoire. Was it, you were talking about how growing up it was something you loved the bagpipes and you love bands and stuff. Is it something that you were like, I want it to be my job, like down the road, like this is the one thing that I want to be doing full time, like from an early age?
Yeah, I think so. I remember picking my subjects at school in high school based around what I needed to get into the RCS. I think it was like you need 3 C's or something at higher. But I remember in like second year just dropping everything I didn't want to do, picking as much music as I could, and doing like subjects that I enjoyed doing, and trying to get, my parents were obviously encouraging me to get a broad range as possible, just in case something happened and I wasn't. But I was fairly like determined that I was going to get onto that course when I was 18, and my path I had mapped out for myself was I was going to do the course and I was going to play in a grade 1 band. I was going to try and win the worlds, and I was going to try and get into the silver medal in the solos, and I was going to get a teacher job at a private school, wherever that was in the world, and I was going to be like that was the path that I went into the RCS wanting. And then I guess I went into the RCS and decided that I didn't want that.
Yeah. Oh, really? That's so funny. Yeah, because you, I mean, I know, we definitely hung out a few times, and you always were like a creative mind. And I feel like in the past few years, I've seen you like, with your album and writing music but being more into the sort of the folk scene as opposed to like the pipe band scene. I mean, you still play for one of the best band in the world, right? But do you think that when you entered the school and those 4 years at the school, I think it's 4 years, you changed your mind? The school changed your mind? What changed your mind at halfway through that decided to go a different route?
I don't know. I think it was more like the being in Glasgow thing, and being like, and I became friends with like people who didn't play the pipes, but also played music. I think like at school, like I was the only person that played pipes. There were some people who played music to an okay level, but like nobody from my school played, and everyone at Bagad Pipe Band, obviously, when I was growing up, were good pipe band musicians, and we were in the juvenile band together, I know, and the grade 1 band together. But it's like everybody was good at the pipe band thing, but they all did different things. So like nobody kind of like, I was never really in contact with people who like did music as a career. It was always like people did their career and they were good at whatever they did, and they did piping as their hobby. So pipe band's always been, I've always seen pipe band as my hobby. And then I remember doing a few weddings when I was at school and things, and I would like make money from that. Oh, that's nice. It saved me flipping burgers in McDonald's or whatever it was. And I remember always being determined to not have to do that. I always don't have to get a normal job. But I hate when people say that. But I remember saying that myself, like, oh, I don't want to get a normal job because I just want to play the pipes all the time. And I still just want to play the pipes all the time. But yeah, so that was always my thing. But yeah, I think I started to get lessons and I was hanging out with people and I was like playing border pipes and playing like sessions in the student halls and going to the Ben Nevis bar and things. It's like, oh, this is way more fun. And these guys all know the same tunes as me. And like, oh, what's that tune? I'll learn that tune this week. Or there was all this kind of thing like, oh, you could play with other people. It had a bit, I think, I don't know. I have one of the best feelings in the world is playing in a pipe band when it's good in like final tuning of the worlds. Like I think there's nothing better than that for me. I like gives me goosebumps. I love it. But then playing with other people when you're just like playing music and there's people enjoying what you're playing, I think there's no better feeling than that as well. So like I like performing is
Nice.
basically what I mean. So and playing in a pipe band and playing solo bagpipes isn't really going to give you that satisfaction as much as playing with other people does, I guess.
I see. And now, for people listening that, will probably Google your name or go on YouTube and can hear some of your performances. You're definitely, I mean, clearly you're enjoying it. You're enjoying the performance aspect of things, and I think people, watching or listening are, seeing that in you, and it's interesting to hear it. Were you always, was it a click when you started hanging out with other instruments and going to sessions and playing, just jamming on tunes? You felt like, wow, this is super fun. Like I want to double down on that sort of career path and kind of like keep doing that.
I think it was more about like diversifying my options in terms of like I love playing the pipe band, I still play the pipe band as you say. I love doing the solo piping, I still do the solo piping. But like I also love this kind of other aspect of it, and that's where I found that I guess there was the possibility for me to make a career there. I made a Cayley band with my friends, which we still have now, and it's very successful, and that's what pays me to live, essentially just doing Kayleys and corporate events and things. And then there was like you could also like I started a band, like I played with Charlie Stewart. We did a couple of duo kind of CDs, so you're bringing stuff out with that. And then it was like, oh, like kind of further down the road after uni, I was like, oh, I'll maybe do an album myself, but get these people to play on it, and we'll create this music. I'll write some of the music, and it's like having different ways in which to make money from playing the pipes, and then obviously the teaching aspect is also part of that, but I've now very recently started to scale that back as well. So like I don't want to be teaching whilst I can. I don't want to be teaching, not because I don't enjoy the teaching. I love the teaching. I get so much out of people like enjoying the pipes, and I got a pipe band project from nobody played pipes in the school to we had a pipe band at the Worlds this year. So like things like that are really
Wow.
rewarding, and I love that. But it's like I want to play the pipes because I feel at the moment that's what I'm best at. I want to perform playing the pipes, and I want to do that before I have, I guess, responsibilities. Not that I'm planning to have responsibilities, but like
Yeah,
whilst
I know
I'm
what you
young
mean.
enough to be able to like travel the world and see things, and I play with the Chili Pipers fair bit now, and like getting to kind of do gigs with them as well, like see the world, do different events, different things. It's good just to be able to play your pipes and make money, but also feel like you're enjoying it and you're not stuck to I've got to be at this school at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning to do my teaching. Like
Right,
I can
right.
go and do the things is what I mean.
Yeah. I like that you trying to find the balance between playing in the band is like twice a week practices, and you have those majors and competition sort of aspect, and then you have the school like you just described. But part of you is like ton of creativity that you just want to experiment with things and play with other musicians and stuff like that. Um, that's great to hear, and I can see it when I hear your music. You released an album, I think it was a year ago, right?
It was actually 2 years ago. It was March 2020. I released my album, and we all know what happened in March 2020. So
I know I was gonna say.
so yeah, yeah, I graduated in 2017 and then like kind of let it mull over. And then I think it was after the Worlds in 2019. I was like, right, I'm doing it now. I'm gonna go and do an album. I've written some tunes. I've picked some tunes that I like. I'm gonna assemble a band, assemble the troops, and we're gonna go and record this. And then it's gonna come out on my 25th birthday, which was the 9th of March. And like this is the kind of plan. That was the big kind of idea of it. And I guess a USP for it was it's coming out on my birthday. It's the culmination of 25 years of my life, that kind of idea.
Nice.
People like that. Oh, it sounds a bit kind of corny or whatever, but people like having something to kind of relate to, especially when it's not like this is about that hill, or that's quite common thing that like people use a theme for an album or for music. But like my theme wasn't so
Yeah.
much. It was like this is just tunes that I like to play and I want to play them with people. So
Did you write
yeah,
most of the tunes?
I would say it's about half and half, maybe 60-40 in favor of tunes that I wrote and tunes that I like playing as
Do you
well.
enjoy it?
And
The
yeah,
writing part?
yeah, I like writing tunes. I would say that like I kind of built up a bit of a reserve of tunes, and then the kind of a few of them came out in that. And I guess I was listening to other podcasts you're saying, and other podcasts that I listened to about things like creative things. People will always say that you write like 100 tunes, but only like 3 of them are ones that you want to kind of present to people. Yeah, I would say that's definitely the case. Or you certainly write fragments of tunes and you go, oh, actually that's not good, or I wouldn't want to put that out. But I've been doing that, and then even since then I've been doing a few. But I think it comes in waves, I would say, in terms of like feeling creative or feeling like you want to write a tune. I wouldn't say like I sit down and I'm like, right, I'm going to write a tune every week. Or I wouldn't say that I'm walking down the street and I go, oh, that's the tune, like that zing kind of moment. Wouldn't say I work like that, but I do often, well, not often, but a few times a year I get asked to write a tune for an occasion, or I will write in a tune for an occasion. It's a good present, a good free present to family members, big birthdays or weddings and things. And so like I will write
Right.
tunes for that, or I'll use bits of some ideas that I've had and finish them for the kind of commission aspect of it as well, which means you then build up still more tunes that are yours. So like I probably got like a bank of a few tunes now that maybe we go towards future recordings or future
And you
releases or stuff as well.
like event, yeah. Do you sort of experiment as well when you do performances with your band? Like, do you is it something where you add like some sort of tunes that you're unsure about, but you want to see sort of the reaction of people, or how it feels playing with other instrument?
Yeah, so it's been a bit strange because I guess it came out in 2020 and we were supposed to do some gigs in 2020 to launch it and all that kind of thing. And then the idea was we would get more gigs in 2021 because people had liked what they did in 2020, etc.,
Hmm.
etc. But what has happened is that we've had 2 years off. We didn't, but everybody who was booked for stuff in 2020 is then doing things in 2022, and then everyone who's booked for things in 2021 is then doing things in 2023. So it's been very, or late 2022, but all the gigs have basically been this year,
Hmm.
for everything and everyone. So there's such a big kind of, I feel like it's fairly crowded at the moment, in terms. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that we hadn't played any of the music in the first place live. We put the tunes together as a group, the band together. We recorded it, we released it, and we never played it to anyone until I think the first gig as the full band was in. We did a few like online trio things and things, but the first live gig was in June 2022, and it came out in March 2020.
Wow,
So like we hadn't had a chance to even play that music and see how that sits live. So we didn't. So like then
that's
we put some
crazy.
we put some new sets together for some festivals because we had to play for longer than the album. So we had to put some new music together anyway. So we have been playing that, but even then, you've still not really had a chance to get the feedback, really, because we've
From
only
the
done like
crowd. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
six or seven gigs. So it's a strange thing. It is very strange, and it's quite difficult to kind of get your head around in terms of like what is this and where does it go and what is, because the path is easy. The what I described is you bring the album out, you tour the album, you write some new music, and you do another album or you do some singles, and then it just kind of rolls on from there. But it's not really been like that at all, and yeah, so it's a bit
Yeah, and
strange.
you probably want to change stuff too, right? If you're like Well, now I've got like, I want to tweak, even if it was a tune that you guys played in the album, maybe add another instrument to it or something.
Yeah, sure. Or yeah, the lineup changes, and you have to. Oh, the fiddle played that, but there's no fiddle here today, so like the guitar will have to play that, or the
Right.
pipes will have to play that, or we can't do that tune like that because there's no that voice from the album isn't there. Not necessarily a singing voice, but a musical voice, if you like, isn't there as well. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a fairly interesting thing. But
Nice. And then so right now you're fully busy with a few bands that you describe, and also Inveraray. How was it like winning the worlds a few times with Inveraray? What is your favorite kind of like memory out of the past, like obviously before pandemic was with the band?
with the Inveraray band, I think yeah, certainly one in the world's has got to be the that's the pinnacle. That's what I've always wanted to do. Yeah, I've wanted to win the world since I was like I came close. We came second in juvenile 3 years in a row, 2009, 10, 11. When I was in that juvenile band. We won best drum corps, and it was like, oh, we're going to win this time, and then we got beat on ensemble preference. It's kind of been there.
Always something.
I've been second with Ball Call. I've been second with Inveraray a couple of times. It's like actually kind of getting over the line is almost a relief thing, if I'm honest. That's I think quite a lot of people say that. It's like, especially when you're kind of pushing, and it's like, like is it all you've ever wanted? And then it's like, oh, we've done it now, like that. And it was like, obviously it was a great time and it was brilliant and I loved it. But it's kind of, it was almost like, thank goodness I've now got that on my CV as like I've done
Right.
it.
Especially as a professional musician, right? Like you,
Yeah.
I think it's important to sort of have that on
Well,
it.
like, because it doesn't really, like, nobody cares. But if you can go to someone and say, I'm a world champion piper and I'm going to come and play at your event, all of a sudden they're like, whoa, this guy like knows what he's talking about. Like, it just
Hmm.
adds a little kind of stamp of authority. And it's not
Yeah,
completely
definitely makes
necessary.
sense.
It's not completely necessary, but I do think it does help a little bit.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. What's I always ask this question to the guests is like what is the favorite sort of tunes or moment or medley that they've played or that they've heard from another band. It could be a band that you played with, could be Bogle or Juvenile or a Grade One or Inveraray, or it could be one of the tune that you wrote that then people can kind of like go and listen afterwards. And why is it so? Why is it your favorite?
that's the easiest thing in the world to answer. It is playing at Lorient with Bagad
My
Cap
tune.
Caval. Yeah, no. It's playing at Lorient with Bagad Cap Caval in 2019. By far the best
Really?
music. By far the
I
best thing I've
forgot you
ever
went.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I did like I would move there right now and just do that every week. It was amazing. The whole experience. I know like
Really?
it's I know it's your thing. It's your part of the world. But the yeah, I just oh man, it was just so good the way that they went around it. The feeling of the ensemble, the actual performance was just like it was in the stadium. The way that it's like the pipe bands. I know it's like a bigger ensemble, but the pipe band essentially at the end of the day is treated as like it's like rock and roll for pipe bands. Like you would never like you go in the world and you all face each other and like and I know why we do that and I understand it and I try really hard to play well in the pipe band. Of course I do, but like this like oh we're here, we're stopping and starting. There's other people playing there's solos like it's 10 minutes of music and we only got it on the Monday before and it changed on the Wednesday and like we played on the Saturday. It's like you could never do that in the in the pipe band world in Scotland today. Nobody would go with you if you suggested that as a thing. Everyone would be like, no, we can't do that. Like we've got to practice from October to be good in August, and then like we're rocking up. And I know the band, the actual Cap Caval band, do like the remedial work before that, but essentially, like lots of us turned up on that Monday and the band performed on the Saturday, and it was by far the best thing I've ever been part of. It
I
makes like
totally forgot. Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
So it was amazing. It was like so good, and I was like, I want to go back. And then 2020, we went back. I did the breast competition in 2020 with them, and then obviously lockdown, and then I was never going to do Lorient in 2020 because we were doing the concert with Inveraray, so like it was like
Hmm.
3 days before the concert, and that's not going to fly. So, so yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's been a little tight.
yeah, so the plan is to do that. But this year you can do Lorient. Well, I can do Lorient because the Worlds is a week later. So I'll
That's right.
hopefully, assuming I don't have a gig or things like that, I'll hopefully be able to go back and do the Cap Caval thing this year as well, because it's just
Nice.
different, and I think it's just because it's different, and like the people were also welcoming the style of where you practice, yourself, you practice all day and you eat together, drink together, party together, but you're just there all week. Like I often feel that pipe bands in Scotland, and Bog was the same in Inveraray, it's like you just turn up, do the band practice and leave, and then turn up, do the band practice and leave, and then turn up to the competition, go out for the night out, leave. And it's all very kind of, everyone's in it. I don't mean in it for themselves. Well, in a lot of ways, and certainly it sometimes feels like that. And I include myself in that. Like, I'm saying, like, it was a relief to win the Worlds for me. But it's like, I joined that band, like, because I was like, that's a good band I want to play with, and they're very
Hmm.
good. But I think I'll have a chance of winning the Worlds there as well. So it's like, there's all
Hmm.
this kind of like things towards that, and I enjoy the music that we play in Inveraray. But I felt that Cap Caval was more of like a let's go and see how it goes kind of thing. Like, we're playing really well, but like it doesn't matter. And that was the point was proven. Like, we won Lorient in 2019, it was great, and then we came third or fourth at Brest in 2020, and everyone had just as good a time. And like for me, I was like, well, we didn't win. Like, why is everyone going like crazy? It was like, it was, everyone was like, oh, but the performance was great and we loved the music that we played, and it was that was nice. It was nice to be around that, because you can get very much sucked into the we've got to be as good as possible and win the world's thing as well.
Right. It's I love to hear that. I mean, obviously, because I've seen both. Obviously, I grew up
Mm.
playing in what you're describing, and then I've seen the other aspect of it, which is pipe bands. And it's, I think you're right. I think you described it very well. I just wanted to let you speak and kind of
Yeah.
like express how you felt. And I think you're 100% right in the perception of what the event is and what the music is, and what playing with other people is, very different. There's no right or wrong. I think you described it pretty well. But it's very interesting in terms of like music. I've had many conversation with different people that are rather from Brittany and play in a pipe band, or someone from Scotland or a pipe band going into and playing for Bagad. Um, in terms of like the music aspect, was it quite challenging compared to an MSR and medleys that you're used to play? Did you feel like you had to work a lot more than for a medley or MSR?
Yes and no. I think yes, because you're like, I didn't have really much experience playing that kind of music at all. I had a little bit. I'd done the McCrimmon before at Lorient, and I'd done the I played some music at uni, just like we had to learn a suite, and we did in a youth band as well. So like Hervey came and taught us a suite once, like that kind of thing. But like I never like had to play it seriously, so I could perform it in a band, like especially as a fly-in, like that kind of thing as well. So yeah, it was interesting, and the recordings helped. You just like try and make it sound like the recordings, and then once you get there and you kind of start to like to understand what's happening, you realize that if you miss a grace note or you miss a doubling, it doesn't matter, because there's 100 other people to do it for you, or to cover up the fact that. And it's the same. I guess it's the same in a pipe band, but I think in pipe bands it's like more of a problem if you're not like technically like
Like
perfect
perfect.
at the music. So I think it's more about the
Yeah.
music, but which makes it sometimes harder as well, because I don't like feel it's the same as you often find that people who don't live in Scotland or aren't native to Scotland struggle with strat space, for instance. That in piping, that's what I find as a general. That's a general thing, but I find that people struggle to understand strathspeys if they're not from Scotland. It's the same because the Bretons, you play Breton dances, which I don't know how the Breton dance goes. So me trying to play for a Breton dance like doesn't quite marry up in your head. So you end up trying to like create this what you've heard and try and copy it, but you can't do that until you see the dance or you feel the music that other people are playing. So I think from that side
Were
of
you
point,
listening?
yeah, they did rehearsal. They had like the rehearsal, so you're listening all the time to the music, and that was actually easier to remember it, because if you look at there's like 15 pages of music for 20 minutes. You're like, how am I going to remember this? And the thing as well is it changes all the time. Like each thing has a different variation, and you play it and you go, oh, that's fine, that's just repeated. And then you look and you go, actually, no, there's a little touch here. But I was like, obviously there's a little touch there. Like, when you're playing it, you're like, oh, I don't even need to remember that, because you can like feel it coming, instead of like once you kind of work out the style and things. I think like I'm experienced enough, and like I know enough about it that I can work that out. So it means that when you do that, it becomes quite like, yeah, it was
Yeah,
great. It was
yeah.
good fun. But
What was the first like impression? Because I imagine you're remote, you're flying, and you listen to recordings and try to match to perfection whatever recording is being sent, and you can hear for those that don't know Bagad music much, you have a pipe core and you have a bombard core. There's like a question answer, in terms of like how the music is set up. But if you listen to the recording, but then when you're standing there with everything going on, you do have people moving. And if you're not used to, it's stupid, but if you're just playing in a circle all year long, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into this half circle and seeing other people kind of walk around, what was the, not even from a music perspective, but what was the most like intriguing thing that you experienced when you first arrive, your first practice, and you're there and you're like, what is this?
yeah, it was getting the pipes. Like we didn't have pipes like when I went in. So like I went
That's
from
better to start.
I played it on, like, I hadn't played it on the pipes ever, because I'd only played it on the practice chanter, because I didn't have pipes that I could play. You couldn't play along with the recordings on the pipes, which is what you'd want to do, but I just couldn't do it because I didn't have the equipment. So I turned up and I got
Mm-hmm.
given this set of pipes, smaller drones, like, and I got like with cane droneries in them, and like a chanter that had a low F instead of a low G, and the drone's tuned to B, and I'm like, what has happened? So like the first like strike up the pipes, and you're like, this is so weird. Like, how does this feel? But that was really funny. And then yeah, just the sheer noise, or how loud a bombard is as well. When you
Oh,
that's
you had
also
not hear
well,
before. You did not hear any.
I had, and I'd heard Bagads when I'd been in Lorient before, but I'd like never been like inside and like really like close in the band with them. Like I've heard it from a audience point of view and been like, whoa, that's pretty mental, but I'd never been like in it and been like, whoa, that is pretty. But yeah, no, it
Yeah,
was,
I
yeah.
forgot about it. Yeah.
So
Nice.
that's great.
Would you? So you said you would do it again. And do you feel like it drawn some inspiration into your personal sort of like music and how you approach pipe bands?
Maybe I played one of the tunes that we played with Cap Caval on my album. One of the tunes that Tongi wrote, and like, but I played it as like a polka to fit it into like the kind of style of the set. Or basically, I played it to the accompanist, and they accompanied it like that. That's how they felt it would be accompanied. So we kind of ran with that, a kind of different take on it. And obviously, I was playing it on the Highland pipes, not the B pipes, which is what you play in Cap Caval for
Yeah,
anybody who,
yeah, yeah.
or what you would play. I think at Brest this year, I think it's Highland pipes, because of where the music is from. So I think the suite's going to be on Highland pipes, but I'm not quite sure. But so
You would think I would know, but actually I don't. But I'm just glad that they're playing, and that the sort of the bands are back at it after a break. Because one of the competition is inside and one is outside, and the one inside was very tricky, obviously with COVID. So, but that is awesome to hear, because most people, they find medley. Or last week I talked to a guest who was about harmonies, and I was surprised by it, and to you when you said, "Oh, that's dead easy," and I was like, "Oh wow, I can't wait to hear what's next." And he said it was my experience in Brittany, so that's again unique. And for some reason I knew you did it, but I forgot. Were you just by yourself when you did it? You just like went over
no,
solo?
well, I went with Callum Kay and Chris Lee. Chris Lee from Hong Kong and Callum Case from Edinburgh, and he's doing the course at the moment. And he went when he was younger. His mum played the pipes in the Vale, Callum, in the Vale of Athel band in the 90s, and so he would go, like, his middle name is like he's got a Breton middle name and things, so he's right into it. And
Really?
then I met him through Chris Lee, who I was friends with from uni, and then Chris had done it the year before, and then Chris and Callum both did Brest, and they were like, "Oh, you've got to come and do this." So then I went for Lorient, as well, and I know
Got it.
like Gus from the Inveraray band as well, Gus Sickard, and
Right,
yes,
right,
and
right.
so there was like the three of us went. We had a bit of an English speaking section of the pipe corps as well, which was helpful. Because
Yeah, you have a
all
few
the all
people
the
that
all,
can
all the
speak.
instructions would happen in French, and then you'd be like, I don't know what's happening here.
Sure. Sure,
So
why not? Just like me when I was playing with the juvenile band at Bogle, I'll be like, yeah, sure, why
yeah,
not?
I
I'll
remember
just
that.
see how
Yeah,
it goes.
yeah, yeah. Just someone from West Lothian shouting at you in very fast Scottish. Like, you're like,
Yeah,
what? I
it
don't
was
understand what that means.
it was quite an experience. How's your dad doing? Doing good? I
Yeah,
remember he was always around the band.
yeah, no, he's still doing the pipe band dad thing, or still my biggest fan. You know, he actually, for the gigs this year, he had a T-shirt with the gig poster on it that he wore to. He came to like all of the gigs, and he wore the T-shirt to all of the gigs, which was it's really nice just to kind of get the support and things. And I had as I say, I had my
Yeah.
school pipe band out for this year for the first time. So he came to that and like basically showed the parents what to do and how to like or how we did it at Baka when we were kids. Like, get the tuck shop, make sure you like, things like that. Here's the waters, carry the capes, and all this kind of stuff that you wouldn't know if you hadn't done it
Yeah.
before. So when I left, my mum, all the mums, sorry, were saying like, and mums and dads who came to with the Iron Band were all like, oh, make sure your dad comes back. Like he can't leave. We need his help. So no, he's doing that. It's good. So.
That's funny. That is true, though. Like again, coming from Brittany and even the juvenile band was, it was an army. It was like set up like I had never seen before. It's so impressive. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The juvenile and also the Great One band, at Bogle they do a really good job with setting up stuff.
No, for
Um,
sure.
I want to touch on that. You went up to Aaron, right? So which is quite north. So you got out of uni and you got a job at that school right away.
Yeah, sure. So I taught when I left uni. I taught 2 days a week in a place called Girvan, which is in South Ayrshire Council, and that was a project. Again, it was and there's a funding body. Without going too much into it, there's a funding body in Scotland called the Scottish Schools Pipes and Drums Trust, and their ethos is every school in Scotland should have a pipe band. That's their
Nice.
eventual long term goal, and I think that's a great goal. And it's great for people like me who are coming out of uni looking for, like, I wasn't looking at that point. I was looking for maybe a couple of days to make sure I had a steady income, and then but they're also like, yeah, it's great for people coming out looking to teach full time and things. It's great. So yeah, I had a job 2 days a week there as part of the council, but also funded with a separate project. And then I taught at Wellington School, which is a private school in Ayr, a day a week. And then I also started this project on Arran, which is actually, you're saying it's up north. I guess it is. But it's an island. It's just in the Clyde though. It's like so. It's like this.
Oh,
It's
I must be
actually like
mistaken with something
it's the,
else.
no no. But it's the same. Like I guess it's the same long the way as Glasgow. It's an hour to the boat and then an hour on the boat. So it's actually not too far from Glasgow. It is on an island. It is got all the problems of an island in terms of if the boat is not on, you're not getting there or you're not getting home, things like this.
Right.
But in terms of accessibility, it's not the worst. It's by far the closest island to Glasgow. And
Right.
but yeah, so I did all these projects, and over time the Girvan one came to an end. The funding finished, so I finished that, and that was good because I had more gigs, so that was perfect. I had 2 days a week of teaching and my gigs, and then the Wellington one during COVID, I lost a few students because we weren't allowed to teach in the school day. I had to teach after school, and they didn't want to do that because it was something they did in school. So I lost some students, and it kind of
Hmm.
came to the point where I was like, I don't want to be teaching after school in a school. So, and I wasn't allowed in the building,
Right.
even for a year after you were allowed in the building for COVID everywhere else. So it was just, I was like, nah. And then, but the Aaron one I kind of stuck with because I had it from complete scratch. Like no one had touched it. It was my thing. And yeah, we started the project straight from uni. So that was in 2017. Uh, and we had a band at the Worlds this year. We should have had a band at the Worlds in 2020, but obviously the Worlds didn't happen. We played the British, the Scottish, and the Worlds, and we also did our Drawson Highland Games, and we came to play the Piping Live down the street. You know how they do the
Oh, no
bands
way.
out. Yeah, so we came and did
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so it was a great experience for the young people there to do that. So and then yeah, as I say, I was looking to try and I only want to gig now. Well, I'm going to try and only gig now, and do some private lessons. So I after
Got it.
I'd completed the project, the A was start from scratch and get a pipe band to play at the Worlds, and we did that. And I felt I had left it in a strong enough position to move on from that, and someone else could take it forward and look at trying to, I don't know, get a prize at the Worlds or get a prize
Yeah,
in a
yeah, yeah. That
competition.
must have been such a. It must have been such a. Sure, like winning the worlds is great and stuff, but like taking, a band from an island that had never competed before to, going up and competing at the worlds. I mean, that's amazing achievement.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. I'm really, really proud of it, and I'm really proud that everyone got on board with it as well. And obviously, we had some struggles along the way, and we couldn't go to the island basically for 2 years, well, for a year ish, 6 months, and then we could only go back sparingly. And then the boats are a disaster. You won't know about that, but there's a big whole thing about they were supposed to get a new boat and they didn't, and the government have had a disaster making this boat, and it's a total disaster. But so the boat keeps being
Mm.
off. You have to do like lessons online into the school, which is not the same. Like I'm sitting here and there's like two people on Aaron like on my screen, like
Yeah, not easy.
so there was all that kind of to deal with. But yeah, no, we got there in the end, and I was very happy with the way that they performed. They were doing what they tried to do. Unfortunately, we came last, but someone's got to come last at the Worlds. We'd not the worst bit was we hadn't come last all year. The band, and it was way worse all year. And then at the Worlds, we were really good. Oh, I thought we were really good. We did all the things we were looking for, and then we came last. We're like, for goodness sake, what a
Damn it.
disaster!
Damn
But
it.
yeah,
Happens,
it's just
but yeah.
it's how it is, and yeah, and like we kind of tried to sell them the dream. Well, basically, I tried to sell them the Inveraray dream of like I showed them that video, the Ascension video of Inveraray, which was like
Mhm.
Stuart walking up and down a hall with like three or four kids, and then into this kind of monster that it is today. And like I tried to sell
Yeah.
them that and showed like had the idea of like if you win a competition, we're going to play off the car deck of the ferry, like you're going to march off the ferry like down the street and things like that. So like I'm trying to sell them that kind of thing, and I think they won at our Drawson Games. They won the novice juvenile at our Drawson Games, and they did that. They played off the ferry, so it was like all this kind of like we're trying
Right
to do
on.
the get them to enjoy it, and obviously they're not going to enjoy it as much as like you or I would, but at least some people have got something out of piping and drumming on an island that the only pipe band culture was this non-competing local pipe band that aren't well, I wouldn't say aren't, but weren't particularly encouraging of young people, like not kind of seeing the bigger picture perhaps, and like looking at you need to learn 15 tunes to get into the band. Like that's not that if you're a kid and you're going along, that's not really going to encourage you to practice. Whereas I'm there in the school being like, come and play with people your own age, and but then you can play with that band and play along the street and do the events on Aaron. That'll be fine, and you can be part of your community, and that's great. And I'm all about community bands. I played in Bockhall for years. It's about the community and doing the gala day, Bathgate Gala Day, and things. Like I did Aaron Highland Games with the school band. It's about the local community is really important, and I think that's important to making that project a success as well.
Yeah, I love to hear that because and your energy too. You're someone with a lot of energy that can drive and get people together. So you're probably the perfect fit for that. And again, I love that you're talking about community because both bands that you've played with are very community driven. So you had that kind of example. So that's fantastic to hear and inspiring for other bands around the world that might be listening and might struggle with getting people on board and stuff. So I like that you double down or you talked about the community aspect of things.
Yeah, no, I think that's the
um
most important thing for sure.
yeah, no, you're right, What's I want to be mindful of your time before you go and practice with all those drummers. I know you're off today, so I want you to enjoy that night off before the World Solos on Saturday. But so what's next for you? You're talking about a lot of gigs, but obviously Saturday World Solos Drumming Championship, big day. What's after that? Do you have anything leading up to in the winter and stuff?
Yeah, I'm going on part of the Red Hot Chili Peppers German tour. Just after I've got some solo competitions after the solo drumming. I'm doing London, the solo competition in London. Then I'm going away with the Chili Pipers.
Sweet.
I'm doing a workshop in Brittany in Rennes next weekend with Gus Sickard. Me and him are going out to do a workshop with a band. I can't remember the name of it in Brittany on Saturday and Sunday next week. That'll be fun. And then yeah, just in the lead up to Christmas, lots of different events that I'm playing at with my Cayley band and the Chili Pipers, and going to start recording some new singles to come out early next year. As well, to
Awesome.
try and kind of just to try and I guess reinvigorate and just try and get some more gigs and some more opportunities to play with my own band as well. So just and that's what this I guess newfound time off away from teaching. I'm going to try and pour my time into creating some music, writing some music, some videos and things. And I think I don't know if you saw them, but I did some Christmas videos last year or
I
the last
saw that.
couple
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the
Actually.
last couple of years, and every time I see people, everyone's like, "Oh, you're going to do your Christmas videos again." So I think I might get talked into doing some Christmas videos this year again because it's good for engagement. People seem to enjoy it. It's a bit of a laugh. So I think that I will. I think I'll probably do some Christmas videos as well.
You
So
should. Yeah, they're well crafted too. I mean, it's multiple angles and recordings, and you probably spent a lot of time doing these videos. It's awesome.
yeah, honestly, I couldn't believe how much time I'd spent on it the first year that I did it because I had no I didn't have to leave. I wasn't able to leave the house. We were in lockdown in Glasgow in 2020 Christmas. So I did 12 days of Christmas and I just spent like from the moment I woke up until like 4 in the morning just like editing videos and
Oh my
recording
god.
videos and just like 12 days of it. It was insane. And then last year I tried to kind of do that and then realized that I actually had other things on and gigs and things. So I ended up with only 6 last year. So I think it might be a similar thing this year, or I'll maybe start earlier. But then it does feel a
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Getting the Christmas tree up and the Santa suit on in October. Maybe. Yeah,
Yeah, just for the video, just for the video.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I hope you do them so people watch out for Russ videos. They were awesome, just super well crafted and quite enjoyable too. So it was a good thing to listen to. But yeah, thank you so much. Anything you want to promote? I know you just talked about your events, but obviously you mentioned the album that you released. You can get them on your website, I imagine.
Yeah, you can get the album, and there's a book as well. There's a book of all the tunes, how I played them on the album as well on my website, and you can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, and all that kind of thing. I don't really care these
So,
days as long as enough people can hear it, or as many people as possible. I want people to hear the music that I make. I'm not too bothered. People get all uppity about Spotify and things, but I think I think it's important for people to hear the music and use it as a marketing tool as well. So
yeah,
and then
yeah,
I'll
exactly.
be as I say, I'll be hopefully bringing out some singles in the new year. Maybe I was probably like February March time. I think we're maybe going to do 3. So that's the plan there from my
Awesome.
own point of view. Anyway, that'll be great. And then yeah, back to band
Cool.
practice
Yeah,
soon. I think
that's
as well. So that'll be good.
oh, I know, right after the World Solos, I imagine that's where every
Yeah.
bands are going back to.
Yeah, I think so. We will
Um,
maybe be a bit
yeah,
later,
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
January for us, but yeah, it'll be good.
Is that where usually when the like Inveraray Great One band start
Yeah, normally around about
enjoying
January.
some time off?
Yeah.
Nice, that's awesome. Well, you guys deserved it after the season you had. Um, well, good luck on Saturday to all the players that you'll be playing for, and also for you playing all those tunes and MSRs. Maybe hornpipe jigs if some of the adults are making it to the final, which I hope for Gavin at least. But yeah, and all the best with the gigs. Thank you again for jumping on in the chat.
Thanks for having me, and good luck with the podcast and things, and hopefully see you in Glasgow or somewhere in the world at some point, I'm sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Take care.
Cheers, man. Thank you.